Yeah, g'day Kenyans, welcome to another Workshop Wednesday. My friends wouldn't believe it, but I've taken a wrong turn, got myself a little bit lost, it's getting dark. I'm going to need to light a fire to keep myself warm through the night. It's been raining all day, so everything's a bit wet. Going to have to try and light a fire with wet wood. So let's talk about how we go about doing that. It has actually been raining today. I was sitting at work thinking I should do a video on how to light a fire while it's raining, and about 2 hours ago, just as I'm leaving work, it's cleared up, but we'll make do. So, being in gum tree country, there's plenty of kindling on the ground, but if I tried to make a fire out of this, it's all wet. If it's absolutely belting down rain, it's just going to be a no-go. Over the side here though, I've got a couple of dead trees that I might be able to get some stuff off, so go on, we'll have a look, we'll see what we've got, scrounge some stuff up and see if we can light a fire out of it. Yeah, so the first tip is when you're gathering your kindling, if the ground's wet, it's going to be wet. So if you can look up in the trees, things that are hanging up in the trees, you might be able to find something that's a little bit drier. So, got a couple of dead trees here. When I'm looking for my little stuff, I want to make sure it snaps. You can see this snaps, it's really dry, that's going to burn really well. A bit of this we can break off as well, we can shave that down a bit. You can see, even if the outside's wet, the inside's going to be super dry. Okay, there's also a bit of stuff hanging in the tree here. You can grab that down because it's not laying on the ground. It's going to be at least a little bit dry, and again it's going to be dry on the inside. This stuff here looks dead, but if you give it a bit of a snap, you can see it's bending quite a lot, so it's going to be a little bit green. It will eventually burn, but probably not going to burn real quick. Okay, so if it's belting down rain, I'm going to try and find a bit of shelter. In the Blue Mountains at least, rock overhangs are a dime a dozen. I've never not been able to find myself at least enough shelter to get in under to get out of the worst of the rain. If it's north facing, even better, you get that winter sun shining in, warming up the rock behind you. That'll hold a bit of its heat as well into the night, but you definitely want to get a fire going. If I can't get into shelter, I don't want to light the fire directly on the ground because it's going to be wet. It's just going to suck all the heat out of it. So I'm just going to clear that out of the road. Been down, found some stringy bark, and put that on the ground and actually use it as a bit of a base just to keep my original fire up off the ground. Yeah, and again, if it's belting down rain, I might need to try and make a little teepee over that. I can use the bark and use sticks just to try and keep the worst of the rain off the little fire. I'm going to want to get some decent kindling, so I've got a lot of these little sticks that I've collected. Got some of these bigger sticks as well. I might actually be able to whittle this down. So even if that's wet, it's been soaked in the rain, unless it's at the bottom of the river and absolutely waterlogged, the inside's going to be nice and dry. So let's just start breaking that off a little bit. You can see, I mean, it's been raining here for about 3 days, so it's still nice and dry on the inside. And then with a knife, you can even start shaving that down. So if the outside's wet, we don't want to get the wet shavings. But once we get in a little bit, we can just start Right, so I've just made myself a little cradle here. I've got my little wood shavings down in there. Now I'm going to need something to get that going with. So, good tip is the cotton balls. Now cotton's really flammable. Problem is it doesn't burn for very long. So, a couple of little tips with this one. It's got an alcohol wipe. With COVID being around, they're pretty common that people have these hanging around now. So, I'm just going to absolutely soak this in the alcohol wipe. A couple of cotton balls there. I want to tease it out so the fibres are out. I'm going to stick that down in there as well. Okay, so I've got my cotton balls, got my alcohol wipes, got my little lid still here. We'll see what we can do. Okay, so that's going. You can see that cotton just soaks up that alcohol. It's a really nice hot heat going. Lots of little stuff that we've collected. And that alcohol should make the cotton buds burn for long enough to dry. Even if the wood's a little bit damp, we should be able to get it nice and dry just with the flame. Now the other thing people use is cotton buds smeared with Vaseline. Exactly the same principle. It gets that flammable liquid type stuff into the cotton. The cotton's really flammable. Cotton will start and it'll just act as a wick to burn that away. Now it's just a matter of me looking after this, trying to protect it a little bit, and just adding little bits of wood as we go to make sure that gets underway. Now you really can't overemphasize the psychological benefit. If you're out, you're cold, it's wet, the psychological benefit of you getting a fire going, you just feel a heap better. You're still cold, you're still miserable, but you know you're going to get warm, you know you're going to start drying things off. And yeah, it's just, I don't know, there's something about just getting that fire going. It's going to lift your spirits and keep you out there. You can see this wood that I put on is still quite wet, so lots of smoke, but eventually that'll dry out. As we get bigger and bigger pieces, you'll get a more solid fire. You can put your wood around the outside of the fire and then it'll start drying it off a little bit, and then just add it on as we go, and yeah, so lighten a fire. Yes, that's the tips. Try and find some dry stuff that's hanging up in trees. Shave it down, get the dry stuff from the inside, even if you have to get your knife and split your wood open so you're getting dry wood from the inside of the sticks. Even if it's absolutely soaked, the outside will be soaked, the inside you'll definitely find some dry wood there. Your cotton buds with a little bit of alcohol wipe in it, or Vaseline, whatever you want to use. I normally carry a little tea candle as well, so even if the cotton bud's not burning long enough to dry the wood, I can set a little candle here, slowly dry the wood first, put it on. Getting into the shelter so it's out of the rain is obviously a good thing as well. Having your flint and steel, always carry a lighter and some matches, but just in case they don't work, your flint and steel is always going to give a spark. You got your cotton there to catch it, and yeah, away you go. So anyway, hope everyone got a little bit out of that. Stay safe out there. Running late and needing to stay overnight shouldn't be a recipe for calling for rescue. You should be able to deal with it, keep yourself safe, make yourself a little fire and keep yourself warm. So stay safe, hope to catch you out there somewhere. See yous.